Hello, my friends. Today I have a special project that I'm really excited to talk to you about. Ever since I saw this vest online, I was on TikTok and this influencer, Haley, she was wearing this vest, this whole outfit actually I loved. I instantly screenshot it and then I saved it to my phone and I was like, I have to try to recreate this vest. And there are a few key elements when you are trying to recreate something. So I went to the website and I went into the materials section or the composition section to look at what it was made out of. And that is the key thing that you really want to consider when you want to dupe something, because you are going to need that information. That way you can figure out what you need, what kind of materials you have to get. Is it wool? Is it mohair? Is it silk? Is it cotton? What is it? You need to start there because that is really going to determine how the fabric behaves as you knit it up or as you sew it up. So always start there. Next thing you're gonna do is you're gonna go and try to zoom in on the details. So I went in and I did the little magnifying glass and I zoomed in and I was trying to figure out what the stitch was. And the closest that I could get was a broken rib. Now this was probably made on a machine realistically, but I wanted to, again, try to see how close I could get, and broken rib was gonna give me the look that I wanted. The third thing, and this truthfully was a lot harder than I was anticipating. The third thing was finding the right color. So when I started to look, I crowdsourced it on Instagram. I asked what would be the best color and I got so many results. A lot of them pointed to this color that I am wearing that I ended up knitting it in. And I resisted it because number one, it was expensive. And that was mostly it, actually, is that it was really expensive to buy this yarn. And I was like, can I do this for cheap? It's just like, I wonder if it's just a trend, if it's something that I'm going to knit and then only wear a few times. I don't want to spend a lot of money on the yarn. Plus, it felt like a bit of an impulse purchase at the time. So instead, I went to my local yarn store and I picked up a few different cheaper mohairs, and I thought I would experiment with those. And truthfully, I should have just gone with this yarn from the get-go, but I was like, I need to find a cheaper alternative. So let me show you what I ended up with. The first one I ended up with was a sock yarn that I have, plus this yellow mohair. And you can kind of see it's a bit more yellow than my vest is. And it's also just not quite right. Like it just was a bit too defined. It didn't have the fuzziness or the lightness that I wanted, but it did feel somewhat close. It was just a bit too yellow and I didn't really love how it looked with the fingering weight sock yarn. So then I tried with this mohair that I had ordered from Hobby, and I thought this might be the closer one. And then I realized that it was almost an identical color to a vest that I had recently knit, the clematis vest. And I was like, I can't have two vests that are almost the exact same color. That just doesn't make any sense. So then I took this green from Drops and I was like, this must be close. This could be it. I really liked it. I was really into this and this was a top contender for me. When I pulled up the picture of the vest again, I realized this is just not, it wasn't quite it. It was a bit more blue. It just didn't have the right tones that I wanted. And so with 3 swatches done, I was like, I need to just like make a purchase that was gonna be as close as possible. So then I messaged the Knitting Loft and I asked them to show me some yarns that they had that would be the most comparable to this image. And they really delivered. I must say, they gave me a few different options and it ended up being this one from the Wandering Flock, the one that I had my eyes on all along, Neon Sorbet from the Wandering Flock. And so I did bite the bullet, but I wasn't going down without a bit of a fight. I suspected I might need 3 skeins, but I only purchased 2. And I was like, let me start with 2, see if I can finish it in 2. And if I can't, then I will purchase a 3rd because I really wanted to not completely blow the budget on this one. Like 3 skeins would have made it so much more money. It was, I think, $90 total with shipping for the 2 skeins. And so I just felt like I didn't want to go more than that. I mean, $90 is still under what the vest cost to buy. So I was like, oh, that's reasonable, right? So I get the yarn and it is instantly everything that I want. It is so soft, it's so fluffy, it feels so nice, and the color is perfect, you guys. I couldn't believe how perfect the color was. So I did a swatch, and it's a bit of a fluffier mohair, so I ended up going down one size in a needle because all these were, I believe, the same needle as the pattern I used, but this one was not. This one was a bit fluffier, and so I needed to have a slightly smaller needle size. And so that is the next step, is finding the right pattern. And so I went with My Favorite Things Knitwear vest number 4. And I thought that this was actually a really good fit. It had the high neckline, it had kind of everything that I wanted, really minimal, and I knew that I could quite easily swap in my stitch pattern. So that's what I did. I basically copied the vest exactly as the instructions said, but instead of doing it in stockinette, I did it in broken rib. And so broken rib is essentially knitting one row, and then in the second row, you're doing knit, purl, and that's it. And the only thing that I had to be conscious of was the increases at the neckline and the increases at the armholes, because you're knitting it top down, and as you're increasing it, it's gonna throw off your stitch count. So you have to be aware of adding in the stitches and staying in pattern as you go. I didn't find that too difficult. It took a little bit more brain power and some frogging here and there, but it did work out, and it really wasn't too difficult, and it didn't require much more brain power than I thought that it would. So when you're trying to do your own ready-to-wear garment, you may want to draft something yourself, but you likely can find something online. Sometimes you may want to crowdsource this, but honestly, looking on Ravelry, I found this vest instantly, and I knew that it was going to be a good fit. I also knew that swapping the stitch pattern would be a relatively easy fix. And so when you're trying to dupe your own garment, I do recommend trying to get as close as possible to the garment that you're trying to dupe. Try to find a pattern so that you don't have to think too much about it, especially if you're more beginner. If you're more intermediate, maybe you want to make those changes, but for me, I really just wanted something easy. I didn't want to think too much about it, and so this ended up being a pretty great way to achieve what I wanted. So this is the result that we came up with. I did not have to buy another skein, but we were playing major yarn chicken. Like, this is how much I had left. Like, I was really like at the end. I unraveled my swatch, which is crazy. That's when you know you're getting close. And then on top of it, I was cutting the tails of the project as I was going, the different ends that I had to, attach, like at the armholes and whatever. I was cutting those, and I was like piecing them together to bind off. I bound off a few of them in one strand only. So I think here, this is bound off in one strand only, and these, the button band is also bound off with one strand only instead of the two. So it was really close, guys. I was really sweating. I was like, I don't want to have to buy another skein just for like these tiny little details. And so I did have enough, but just barely. And honestly, I wouldn't necessarily want to make it any shorter. Like, I could have if I really needed to, but I think everything about it really turned out exactly how I wanted it to. And so that was it. That was the whole process. It was pretty simple, and honestly, I would do it again. I have a garment that I absolutely love. I love everything about it. I just find it so special, and because I put so much effort into it, it feels just like a really great thing, and I got to share it all online. I had so many people messaging me about it. This was like a real hit. So I'm really happy that I got to work on this. I'm really happy that I finished it, and I'm gonna show you some videos now so you can see what it looks like. If you enjoyed this video, I would really love if you subscribe to my channel. You can give this video a like, leave me a comment what you thought. Have you ever duped something? Is there something that you want to dupe? Maybe we can help you find a pattern. I'd love to know if you want me to do more videos like this. Is there something else I should try to dupe? Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to watch another video like this, you can click right here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.